Hello mysterious person behind the screen. I've spoken about a few British sitcoms on my channel before, both in dedicated videos and in ramblings and collection updates, etc. And it's safe to say that British comedies are, for me, perfect comfort telly. Only Fools and Horses, Gavin and Stacey, Ghost, Derry Girls, The Royal Family, The Inbetweeners, I'm Alan Partridge, and so many more. All of these shows I can have on whenever, no matter what mood I'm in. They never fail to lift my spirits. But there's one particular show that in recent years has probably become the ultimate comfort TV show for me. Every time I'm feeling blue, I'll pop an episode on and it never fails to spark all kinds of emotions in me, mostly sheer joy. That show is Peter Kay's Car Share. Car Share is a brief and beautiful little show originally created by Tim Reed and Paul Coleman, who pitched the idea to Peter Kay, who, with Sean Gibson, further developed the show into what we have today. It follows John and Kaylee, two supermarket workers who participate in their company's car sharing scheme. Over the course of 12 episodes, a Christmas minisode and an audio special, we watch their relationship develop as the two become closer and closer, and that's it. It's two people sat in a car for half an hour. And it's absolutely one of the sweetest, most feel-good things I've ever watched. It's all down to simplicity. It's the Royal Family effect, where you take an incredibly mundane concept and mine absolute gold from the sheer relatability of it. And of course, it helps when the chemistry between your two leads is as dynamite as it is in this. Peter Kay and Sean Gibson have been best friends since they were kids, and she's popped up in most of his work over the years, but according to Kay's recent book, Gibson had actually semi-retired from acting altogether by this point, and it was him who fought for her to play the role of Kaylee because he believed in her abilities. And like, is that not the most wholesome thing ever? The whole foundation of this show is built on one friend believing in and hyping up the other, and he was right. Sean Gibson is so wonderful as Kaylee, it wouldn't work without her in it. She pitches that character perfectly. I think we all know someone like Kaylee, and the way she bounces off Peter Kay is just absolutely sublime. It's no secret that a lot of Car Share was improvised, and so many of the best moments are just the two making each other giggle, and it's all so very genuine. It's just little comments between the two that they share with each other, and often they can elicit the biggest chuckles because it does genuinely feel like two best friends shooting the shit and having a laugh. It's such a funny show. Peter Kay is absolutely hilarious anyway, I mean, obviously, but he's not really doing the big OTT stuff that he usually does in his work here. He does slip into that, and it is absolutely hilarious when he does, but for the most part he plays the character of John with a quiet cynicism and a lot of heart that contrasts really beautifully with Kaylee's larger-than-life personality. It's the kind of chemistry that you only get when the two leads have known each other for so long and are so close, and I think you really, really needed that, not just for the comedic moments, but also to sell the romance that's at the heart of the show across the entire run. Now, the will they won't they trope has been a staple in sitcoms all around the globe for decades now. Jim and Pam, Tim and Dawn, Sam and Diane, Andy and April, Ross and Rachel, I could go on. And so it's probably difficult to find a new spin to put on a sitcom romance, but having said that, Car Share has probably my favourite will they won't they storyline ever. I definitely think it's one of the sweetest and most endearing out there. John and Kaylee as characters are so well drawn and brought to life in a way that makes it almost impossible not to root for these two to finally get together. From that first smile that John gives at the end of the first episode to that final handhold in the last. I think what sets John and Kaylee apart from other sitcom couples is that we, the audience, have essentially watched their entire relationship unfold in real time. That's the genius of Car Share, and why I think that it was the perfect way to tell this story. In every episode, the viewer is placed right in the back of that car with them. We're granted access to every laugh, every hidden look between them, every moment where they get close, every fantasy that things might develop into something deeper. We're there for all of it, and as a result, it feels like we've always known these people. In other sitcoms, we're observing the characters from afar, but in Car Share, we're granted access into that intimate setting every week. We see them at their most raw. They do classic tropes like the two almost kissing and then getting interrupted, but it feels all the more effective because we've been in that car with those characters for so long. And more than that, through the fantasy sequences, we've seen just how they feel about each other, everything that they can't say in person. These are really fun. Peter Kay said that they were simply pure indulgence on his part, but I think they work great. Everyone's done it. We've all drifted off when stuck in traffic, daydreaming and singing along to whatever song's playing, so having them here is just another level of relatability. And I'm always amazed by how elaborate these things are, especially in the episode where Kaylee has a panic attack in a car wash and so goes to her happy place, at which point we get this really quite elaborate animated sequence that looks great. It's only in the episode for about a minute, if that, but they fully commit to this mad idea and it works. I'm really glad that the complete series Blu-ray set includes the uncut version of all these sequences as bonus features. It's really cool to see, given how much work went into them behind the scenes. Anyway, yeah, Carshare does something really quite clever with these, in that when the series starts, these fantasy sequences only feature either John or Kaylee, but in the final episode of Series 1, Kaylee's dream features them both, and from that point on, all of the sequences feature them both together. It's a really nice and subtle way of showing the pair getting closer and the feelings between them developing rapidly. There's a great sense of progression throughout the show. It never feels stuck or like it's playing for time. With each car journey, and by extension each episode, their relationship and connection only grows stronger. And of course, it culminates in a real shout at the TV moment where all of that frustration comes to a head. They both think the world of each other, but John's so scared of being hurt because of his past that he cannot bring himself to say it, and so what we have is a really beautifully performed scene where all of the emotional walls break down and Kaylee finally says those words that we've all been waiting 2 series to hear.
Because I love you, that's why. And it's killing me that you don't feel the same.
What are you doing? Fucking hell.
Oh God, the delivery of those lines is so good. I honestly don't think these two get the credit they deserve as actors for this whole confrontation. I'm always amazed at how genuinely into the moment and emotionally invested I get whenever I watch this, and it's all down to the emotion given by Peter Kay and Sean Gibson. And then of course, when they're on the bus in that last episode, holding hands and agreeing to take it slow, knowing how they both feel, it feels absolutely perfect and so true to these characters. It's the perfect balance between a cheesy Hollywood ending and something that feels grounded and real. I think they nailed the ending. Ultimately, I don't think anyone is going to watch Carshare and come away thinking it's a game-changing piece of fiction, but it's a simple rom-com story told with great care, with beautiful performances and immaculately written characters, so we the viewer feel all the emotions that they do. I think that's the reason the show has become such a comfort watch for me. I've revisited Carshare an awful lot in the last few years, and I enjoy it more and more with each viewing. It's a warm, sweet, hilarious, uncynical but very real programme that never fails to make me happy. And when a show can do that, it's no wonder it's become one of my favourites. As a comedy, it's hilarious, and as a romance, it's lovely. I do hope we see John and Kaylee again someday, not for a full series, I think that story's been told, but a special sketch or a mini-sode one day would be great. If you've not seen Carshare, do give it a watch. I know this video has completely spoiled everything if you made it this far and haven't seen it, but it still comes highly recommended from me. Availability wise, it's a bit of an issue. I know Peter Kay doesn't like having his shows repeated too much for fear of them getting stale, but I hope it gets added back to iPlayer at some point. Nevertheless, I do recommend picking up the complete collection Blu-ray and DVD set if you can. That's what I'm using for footage in this video. It's a great set with a lot of special features, and I'm honestly amazed that the BBC released something like this on Blu-ray, so it's definitely worth seeking out if you can find it. But what do you think of the show? Let me know in the comments. I really hope you've enjoyed this video, folks. Look forward to more very soon, and make sure to follow me on all my socials. Have a good one, guys. Take care now.